All right, so this is Joseph Ganchar with ownership of a vision. This is what we're going to be looking at in the next little bit. This is going to be dealing with your hardest, believe it or not, parts of an organization is your vision. And that's going to be in a corporate organization, company, those that you lead, anything that you're going to say as far as in a leadership capacity. Ownership of a vision is basically where it starts. And this is where we're going to go through all the gaps and all the potential hurdles that are unforeseen in most cases, and we're slowly going to unveil them. And hopefully, this will help you out in progressing forward in the environment that you're in the position that you're in the situation or circumstance as well. So, limited leaders. These are leaders that essentially say that we have done it for so many years in this manner. Why? Because that's just the way how we've done it. Why have we done it this way? Because it worked. Why would it work? Why would we want to change something that works? Well, instead of thinking in the sense of in certain industries, why change something if it isn't broke? Well, in that same industry, in a different sector of that or a different geographical location, they're like, well, if it works now, let's do whatever we can to improve on it. And those that have continuously improved have not only gained the market share, but have also gained credibility, because when they've gained that market share, what happened was they improved on it. They made it more efficient and they've made it durable. And you're like, who or what is he talking about? I'm basically talking about the North American auto industry when they said, if it isn't broke, don't change it. And then you look at the Japanese model, they said, it works now, but let's improve on it. And then all of a sudden you have Toyota. Enough said. Okay. So what happens when you have limited leaders who have you ever experienced where the person that you are working with or you are having to deal with, and this could be in a product or a service type of environment, so you could be even a business owner that's just not able to carry the team or even to carry on their organization as themselves. So you're dealing with someone that just doesn't have the capacity, doesn't have the understanding and the realization that when they are able to actually push things forward, it doesn't seem to roll out. Why? Because it is beyond their capacity, it is beyond their ability to even think in 3 to 4 different angles or perspectives and thinking, this is the way how it's going to happen, these are the potential outcomes that are going to happen, and this is why it's going to happen. If you don't understand the how and the why, you're never going to understand what is actually fully entailed in the situation or circumstance. So when you have a limited leader that doesn't know how to carry the team, this is why they literally lack vision. Have you ever had to report to someone who just doesn't seem to have things in order to propel the team or yourself in a forward motion and when it comes to continuous growth? If a company or organization or you know what you're able to have your hands on is not able to continuously help you to develop in either a personal or professional manner, they are literally holding you back from your greatest potential. Why would this be a great asset for you if you're not able to better yourself so you're able to better that company to be more competitive in the market? It just doesn't make any sense. However, if you're able to harness and continuously develop yourself and harness your strengths, okay, you want to concentrate 80% on your strengths, 20% on your weaknesses. That doesn't mean go the other way around, because you have to be able to be strong to move forward and to develop and consistently develop those that are around you so that you're able to continuously be more profitable in the market and adding value. Once you're able to add value, then you're able to see the monetary result of that. So the more value you add to the market, the more monetary compensation you will acquire. So if you're not in a place where you're going to be able to experience the tools and resources to help you prepare to propel you into continuous growth, it's not that you should change that place of employment or that company or that organization. You have to figure out how you're able to actually navigate things in such a way where you're basically playing chess when everyone's playing checkers in that situation or circumstance. And that is basically trying to add value to them so that they can understand things in a much more clearer way. Maybe even having to experience what you do is what you attract. So if you do big things, you'll attract big capacity people. So have you ever seen, or maybe you experienced it and heard, because I know I have, you attract who you are. So if you attract who you are, where are you at, where are you going, and where were you? So whatever history you may have, sure, that has developed you to where you are currently, but that doesn't mean you currently continuously go down the same path. You can change today in the matter of helping you have a better tomorrow. So then by the time you continuous this road, this pattern, this rotation of continuous growth, a year, 2, 3, 5, 7, 10 years down the road, you're going to be a much different person. You're going to be able to see things much differently. You're going to be able to have a larger capacity and see many different things from many different angles. So then what will happen from this point moving forward is that you'll be able to actually see things in a way that most people won't. Why is this important? Because if you're able to see things that most people don't in your market or in your industry, you're probably going to be what's called an industry leader. Being an industry leader, innovator, creator, that is probably going to put you in the place where you're going to be able to set yourself not only from a part of the pack or the market, but that is also going to allow you to have the longevity and the strength to continue to push forward and having a vision greater than yourself so that when you pass on, you'll have something to leave and not just deteriorate at your feet when you pass away. The most powerful thing is not what you leave in the world, but what you leave in others around you who will continue to live on, because that is the only thing that will actually have greater impact, because there is no material mechanism in place that'll help you survive or cheat death. It's just not going to happen. Concrete thinkers. So having to navigate a situation that could be dealt with in a much easier way, which meaning if you're able to deal with someone that is able to be a lot more flexible and fluid and understanding and how things are going to be developing, well, I'm going to tell you that is the ideal outcome. However, most people don't actually see things this way. So instead of dealing with someone who is completely black and white and saying this is how it's going to be done, this is how we've done it for many years, not exactly. That is literally the beginning of the end, because they're dying. That whole organization or company is now going to be in a contractual state where they're going to be just, I think this is it. We are completely done. And I have no idea how we're going to get out of it. I've seen firsthand certain sectors of industry in actual like oil and gas industries where you've seen a lot of heavy manufacturing, a lot of, development. And it was like this for many, many decades. It's actually 3 or 4 decades, and this isn't actually too far away from where I live. And so what ends up happening is that things shifted to such a degree that that whole booming area is now literally a ghost town. I mean, you could literally go in there and like everything's up for sale still. And this has been for close to 5 years. So there's nothing happening in certain areas because people are just not willing to be more fluid in their thinking and understanding, in the sense of let's change our approach. So that's what happens. So if you're never having the ability to be creative, since your ideas will be taken, this is where it happens when you have people that just do not want to give credit where it's due. I've experienced this, and it's just like, what? I think it's just better if I just don't say anything. And the reality is if I have to be in a position where I feel compromised, I'm not going to be willing to be sharing the things that I know that would make this place better. So I've actually walked away in the sense of in a mental capacity and say, I'm just going to come in, do what is required of me, and move on. And that works in those situations to a certain degree, but it isn't exactly how you want to live or operate in your end goal. So you got to be very creative in how you approach these things, because they could have long-term effects in the negative sense. So be aware and understand that it's not the big things that'll take you out, it's the small things. So maybe share enough to get through and say, okay, this is how we can, navigate through this, but don't be completely head in your sand and think that this is the best route, because that is actually the worst route. The longer you leave a problem, Unfortunately, it festers and it grows, and then it becomes a big monster when it should have been completely addressed um, in the initial birthings of it. So having the potential to create something much bigger than yourself, and you see it, see that is probably one of the biggest blessings in disguise when you know that you can create something beyond yourself and you see the potential. But unfortunately, when this gets slammed, since we never, oh boy, since we never done the things in that fashion, well, that's not ever going to work. We never done it before, but I know it's never going to work. Well, you don't know unless you actually try to execute it. Trying is not really an effective way of doing it. It's like literally, let's just try, not just try, but let's just do this. Let's just execute it. Let's just see how things shake when we're done this. And that in itself can really navigate things in a much more positive way. How so? In a short little while, we'll actually go through this. So, oh boy. So you have what's called dogmatic talkers. So, unfortunately, these people are, it's really heartbreaking because all they want to do is talk about what's going on. And this is the end result of that. So they got to know what the very small details and everything. They look very stressed out, just like this woman. She's like, okay, seriously, if I don't know what's going on, then this is not going to happen. And they're very pessimistic, and they must have the spotlight and taking the credit for everything. So it's like, if it doesn't work out in my favor, and if I don't actually look like if I'm going to be able to be the knight in shining armor or the queen of the land to be, then this is not for me. And I will make sure that I will do whatever I can to make sure that no one else actually gets the credit for anything else. So they'll intentionally cut information from you. This is what has happened to me and has caused me to continuously shift in different areas of serving the market. And serving the market could be a place of employment, or now, for an example, having the ability to operate, having my hands in many different things is the most polite way I can put it. So these people who say that these things, see, these dogmatic talkers are also the ones that say anything heavier than air cannot actually fly. Women do not want to vote. Well, that's ludicrous because there's women that are leading, states and provinces, even countries. Or even the most craziest thing is, well, everything's been invented. That's crazy. No, not everything has even been remotely invented. You want to know why? Because in the last even 15 years, there's been great developments. Okay. So technology has a factor of the way how they're able to navigate things in such a way where if you think you have the car figured out, wait till you see what we can do with a jet or a rocket, or how you can order online, or how you can see things literally come from nothing and develop into something in a very short matter of time. And what am I exactly talking about right in here? Artificial intelligence. So you have the satisfied sitters, and these people, well, here's the reality. These are those that are very comfortable in the structure and the routine with zero risk in their life. They look very, very comfortable. They look like there's not a care in the world, just like this girl. Oh, hi, how are you? And it's just like, I'm just really comfortable with the way how things are. Like, it's just never going to happen that way. It's just never going to happen that way. So, unfortunately, when in comfort is long enough, it becomes complacency. And even to that extent is boredom. See, eventually, have you ever heard of like the worst is idle hands destroy? So either you're going to be productive or destructive. So you figure out what's going to happen. So security creates a lack of vision. Just like in a new civilization, when you have people that are crossing large bodies of water within a very short period of time, in like say years, like within 10 years, let's just use this as an example. They go and they clear land. They figure out, okay, who would be the best people to make the big vision decisions. So they get houses and roads and all these other things in place. And then next thing you know, the people that have put those in, the big visionary thinkers to kind of govern them are then questioning, why are we putting a road right in the middle of a forest? You've literally come across half across around the world, or you've basically traveled to where no other person has really traveled before. And then all you want to do is continue to expand your territory, and you're going to question it. Why? It's really unfortunate, but these people are just completely like, no, we're good. I'm good. I'm just, everything's good. No, you can never be good. Once you're good, you're sitting duck. Okay. And a sitting duck, well, all it takes is a call and a shotgun, and next thing you know, you're down. So don't ever be satisfied sitters either. Okay. So, with all that entailed and said, next week is Ownership of Vision Part 2. We're back 8% Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Next time, work hard, stay humble.